We will just begin with, out of lack of words, sit for a few minutes. I have to say sit, but I will explain a little bit more after we, yes, sit a few minutes. Dhyan, something, Nyamja. In Chinese, I think they say it Chan. Japanese, Zen. Anyway, Dhyan is India's one of the most beautiful, most profound, most precious gift to the world. Now the Indians must try to recharge this a little bit. Dhyan is translated in Tibetan Nyamja. There's the two words, Nyamja and Gom. Let me talk a little bit about Nyamja. Nyam means equal, equality, unbiased, or non-duality. Non-duality is non-duality is the heart, the spine, the eyes, the head, the brain of Buddhism. If you lose non-duality, Buddhism is just another theistic, superstitious. It then just becomes just religion. If you have the non-duality, yes, it is a religion, but it is also many other things. Non-duality, this is the most precious. Heart Sutra. No this, no that. I can hear na, how do you say it? Na, rupa, na, all that. No this, no that. The Heart Sutra is just about a one page. The longer version has 8,000 verses. If you want more, there's a 20,000 verses. If you want more, there's 100,000 verses, which was revived by great Nagarjuna, the abbot of Nalanda University. Then how many commentaries? Oh, so many. So many. It's big. I don't want you to go back, especially those who are new. Don't want you to go back thinking that Buddhism is just sitting and being in the present. No. Being in the present is just one technique. The Prajna Paramita, Madhyamika, is like this is really big. You can include everything there. Leadership, management, parenting, gardening, I don't know, home decorating, everything. On non-duality. And if you have that non-duality, then I think guaranteed success. For instance, okay, I just suddenly remember Ganesha is there. The Tantric Buddhism also has, stuff like Ganesha. They have stuff like Jambala, Kubera, Vasudhara, and all that. And you can practice it. There's a sadhanas, there's like fire puja, everything. And then the essence of that is the wealth. That this is supposedly wealth, prosperity deity. The real prosperity is non-duality. It's the highest prosperity. When you realize the non-duality, there's nothing to put in the trash can. You understand? Everything becomes valuable. Everything is valuable. Everything is equally, I don't know, should I say good, bad? There's no good, bad. Perfect, basically. Most important kind of wealth, The second, and then in order to study that, in order to achieve that, then there are techniques such as like practicing contentment and so on, and then the mantras and all those are not rejected, not at all. Anyway, I'm going here and there. This is my problem. Whenever I say things, I go everywhere. I have to come back to nyamja, that words of dhyan. Nyamja, nyam means equal. In fact, even the gesture represents this. There are two kinds of gesture, but the most popular gesture is this. Equally, your gesture is equally placed together. And there's a tantric one, but it's more like the Nyingma tradition of the old translation. They also sit like this. Nyam. Now, more important within our context is the word ja. Tibetan word ja is really rich. Of course, it came from, translated from Sanskrit word. Ja. I don't know how to say this actually. Ja has this connotation of leave it alone. You understand? Leave it alone. Even in the colloquial language, in the Tibetans, it's dipage ja, ja, meaning leave it alone, leave it alone. Like there's almost like it's like this. Not like, all this kind of thing. You understand? This ja, very important, this one. Because they think we just don't have the habit of leaving things alone and let it be. We just so itchy, like we have to poke and rearrange and, I don't know, paint and stuff. Again, going back to Zen Buddhism, this is a big thing in Zen Buddhism, for instance. If you go to their temple, it's really, it's very, very, very minimalist, you can call it. But, the beautiful thing about Buddhism is the minimalism is also ja, leave it alone. But a chaotic Tibetan temple is also considered ja. You can be ja in a minimalist way, and you can be ja, or with the kitschy, colorful, blinking lights, all this way. The attitude, ja. And not only the arrangement of the room, but just the body language. I have to say, I'm lucky having met some of the great masters. They're kind of now in extinction, but I've met many great masters who now I remember, during those days when we were young, we never really paid attention, but we're recalling, you can just, their whole presence is this ja. They're always continuously just leaving things alone. They're never pausing, so to speak. Pausing, they're never, but sometimes they do pausing, but when they do the pausing, you can tell they know, you can tell they're laughing at themselves. Pausing, like this kind of pausing. Like this kind of posing. They do that. But you can tell that they're laughing at themselves. They're just laughing. That's so good. Just so relaxed. See, all these words that our spa people have stolen and plagiarized, words like relax. It's okay. Because of my ear, My ear is like this, so no.
Can be tightened with it.
Oh.
Squeeze it.
Okay. Oh, that's true. Okay. So, yeah. This ja. Yeah, I was saying like words like relax. Normally the word relax is this, isn't it? Kind of. But it's actually, the yogis don't think this is ja. This is just another pause, they think. You just have to psychologically, emotionally, intellectually, just in every way, ja. You understand? So you can use that for parenting. You can lead a whole world with this attitude of ja. Leaders will really benefit from this, actually. But this is, I have to say, all this what we have been saying yesterday and today, also this morning, I'm talking about the actual technique. Technique is very good, but then, us individual have, our strength of, how strong habit we have and how good you are handling this habit. That will determine what kind of elaboration or simplicity you need. For instance, like Japanese Zen, in the Zen tradition. In fact, the Zen tradition, the first thing they teach you, I even know the words, shikantaza, they call it. Shikantaza means just sit. That's what it actually means. They teach you first year, the first time you go to a Japanese temple, that's what they teach you. To just sit. Nothing to think of. Just sit, that's it. Hours after hours. 9 years later, they are still teaching this. But after 9 years, the word just has become very, very different. Right now, just sit means like not writing, not drinking, not dancing, just sit. The word just eliminates all that. But after 9 years, the word just has become so profound. After 9 years, the practitioner of Zen is still doing shikantaza, but his just means a lot. Probably he's not even meditating because his word just has eliminated this burden of meditation. Meditation is a burden, all path is a burden. But yes, of course, this technique we can't really, probably not suitable for, I don't know, Indians. Probably not. Different faculties. To a certain amount, yes. Different faculties. Tibetans also maybe not so suitable. So there's something like Dejuch is something which is like Tibetans love chanting. Equally, it's equal. Chanting, prayer, circumambulating something, like a statue. All that. Depending on practitioner's strength. So this is where the word gom comes in, gom. Gom has a connotation of habituating. I've said this already yesterday. Right now you don't have the habit of being in the present. The opposite you have. You have the habit of immediately rushing to the past or the future. That's your habit. How much willingness you have to combat with that. how savvy you are combating this. How clever you are. How much time can you put? How much investment you can do? You can invest time and energy on combating this. I mean, first thing is, are you even willing to do it? Probably yes, but maybe your willingness is like sometimes yes, sometimes no. No. It's a pity actually that we don't have that kind of willingness to habituate ourselves in being in the present. Because it doesn't cost you anything actually. It's the most economical. Yet it gives you the real blessing, bliss. It really frees you from all sorts of trouble. And it's not as if you never habituate with with anything. You do. All your worldly habit that you have learned. You have been diligent with that. You have been practicing those things very diligently. That's why you have become a perfect, samsaric being. Because you practiced hard. And those things are not giving you a, complete satisfaction. Yes, here and there, you have a bliss of ignorance. And those things cost you emotionally, financially. Many of those things you can't do can't do at all times. But being in the present, it's really economical, easy. Yet, as I said, it really is the key to everything. So there's really no reason why we should not do it. But I know it's difficult to do it because there's just a lot of strange habits we have. For instance, we are like what do you call it? Pack rat pack? Pack rat. Pack rat who collects everything. Pack rat, right? Everything, you just open your suitcase or in my case suitcase, but just house so many things. Pack rat. And you long for some sort of a space, but you are the one who does this pack rat practice. We have that kind of habit. And you just love troubles. We love it. We just can't stay out of trouble. We just, trouble. We love troubles. And we love hanging around with people who gives us trouble. Also, like bad habit. Bad habit people, we like it. I don't know, somehow, you resonate with them. Stuff like that. There's a six of them which I don't remember at the moment. If you are interested, I'll maybe write it. And it's from Maitreya. Again, yeah. Like, yeah, you will, and usually we human beings, we like wrong view. As much as we think we are intellectual, we are so rational, blah, 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 nah. We actually like wrong view. Many of so-called our right view is all permeated and sweetened and salted with wrong view. We love being either eternalist, or we love being nihilist. Yeah, we love being fundamentalist, extremist. There is something in us. That's why the shunyata, the emptiness, which is nothing to do with, extreme less is difficult. It's very difficult to chew. It's useless, basically. Actually, from the Buddhist point of view, spiritual path, the definition of the spiritual path from the Buddhist point, Buddhism is it's totally useless from the worldly point of view. It's actually more, from the worldly point of view, if it is useless. To give you an example, like in the ancient India, when I was traveling, I think it's somewhere near Ajanta Ellora. Where is that? Andhra Pradesh? No. Maharashtra. You see this suddenly out of nowhere, in the middle of nowhere, there's a gate. Like on a mountain or the rocks. That's it. That's what I call spiritual. Now the gate has to be useful. It should have the facility to close, some sort of a check post. Do you understand? It should be useful. Like a stupa. You must have seen stupa. It's useless. You can't use it. You can't go in. If there's a rain, nowhere to go in. Useless. House is useful. Your dhyan, from the worldly point of view, wow, you are wasting so much time. While, what is it, Dow Jones? And all those things are going up and down. You're sitting here, wasting your time. This oh yes, one thing I need to say. Contemplation. Yeah, this is what I was thinking of sharing with you today a little bit. What we have been talking is quite, I did, of course, although I was presenting it in a very sort of more simplified or kind of more general way, it is sort of the most ultimate approach, which is, I decided to do it right at the beginning, and then actually, because I want you to sort of have a taste of the value of awareness, cognizance, or let's use the word mindfulness. But to really get into that, all the foundation practice, mind training practices, utmost important. So for instance, like a shamatha and vipassana, and this is, let's talk about this a little bit in the morning. Shamatha is a very common meditation. Vipassana, I would say, is more exclusive Buddhist. Again, here, even nowadays, we are losing that knowledge. Vipassana is exclusive. Okay, shamatha is basically, to put it really simply, technique of shamatha is to make you realize, how should I put it? Okay, very, very simplified, okay? Shamatha meditation is to make you realize you cannot meditate. That's it. That's the whole purpose of the shamatha. Okay, put it in a more classic way is more, traditional way of teaching is shamatha is to make your mind malleable, workable. For instance, if I ask you, okay, everyone, for 5 minutes, please get angry with me. You can't do it. But let's say you are angry with somebody now. And then say, okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, stop. You can't do it. Why? Because your mind, your habit is like a pebble, like a stone, rigid. Remember? Chain of thoughts. You just have to follow that speed. You just have to sort of follow that. You have no control. What shamatha does is you gain the control. But anyway, I think the earlier version probably is easier to understand. It's just to make you realize you can't meditate, you cannot concentrate. Let's do this now. Choose your object. It could be the back of somebody's head, if you're sitting behind somebody. It could be breathing. It could be, maybe the floor is, I think needing to look down is a bit too straining. I don't know, the wall, wherever you are sitting. I think many times they ask you to concentrate on this, which is fine. Just concentrate on that only, nothing else. Back of the head of somebody, breathing. I'm looking at the tripod, for instance, and only that. The moment you are distracted, and moment you realize you are distracted, come back to the object. Okay. What this most probably a moment later your mind is somewhere. Then you try to come back several times, but you keep on going. That's it. That's shamatha. I'm serious. This is it. This is complete. So you keep on doing that one. That's a shamatha. You end up knowing you're always distracted. That's a big benefit. If you know what you should not be doing, that's as close as knowing what you should be doing, you know. Buddhists say, if you know what is ignorance, 90% jobs done, you will have wisdom soon. Looking at the doorknob, I don't know, whatever, pen, paper. Probably not so good at looking at a light or a television, whatever, any other not moving object. By doing this, all your gross discursive thoughts will settle. Gross aggression, gross jealousy, gross all emotions will settle. And warning, this settlement of your emotion, very dangerous. This is not liberation. The mud has settled. It's underneath. Anytime somebody can stir it and instantly clear water, it will be muddy. It's just, but this is good though. This is already quite good. Very good actually, even this. So then what do we do to uproot all the mud? We want to take out all the mud. Now this is a big question. So this is where the vipassana comes in. And the vipassana is endless. You already did one. We have been doing for being in the present is one way. Being in the present, as how I was guiding you yesterday, is one way, and being in the present is a bit like this. It's more the shamatha, but maybe about 5% vipassana. And it's a good one. There are other meditation which is more vipassana, but not so much required shamatha, so to speak. Little dangerous. Because that's like really, grabbing the mud, basically stirring it, stirring. You want to get rid of the mud as soon as possible. Tantra, working with the mud. I would not advise those who are new and beginner, I would not advise too much. Don't rush into that. Very dangerous. Because it's like this, I will tell you. Buddhism, the Dharma, there are too many techniques. There are technique that teaches us how to solve a problem with the solution and the problem as a total opposite, which is easier for beginners. Problem, black. Solution, white. Okay? Then, as you study, all the different technique, and higher the technique, more profound the technique, gap between solution and the problem is narrower. In the Tantra, solution is the problem and problem is the solution. They are one. But don't go in there now, especially those who are new. It's better to have, this is a problem, this is a solution. Easier. That's what I was saying yesterday. Maybe not yet in the hammock and margarita, not yet. But later, yes, why not? Anyway, is fine. We will talk about the vipassana, but maybe just one question, and then we take a break. Is it? Yeah.
I know it's a very big.
You want to use the?
Rinpoche, I know it's a very big subject, but for those of us that don't know, could you tell us a little bit about non-duality?
Okay, well, we will. Yeah, vipassana is about that. Shamatha alone does not really think about non-duality so much. As I said, shamatha just wants to let you know that you cannot concentrate. That's what, yeah. So you are supposed to meditate so that you know you can't meditate. But at the same time, of course, yeah, must meditate. We push you to meditate. Vipassana is altogether different. That has non-duality. Yeah? Suresh. This is nothing to do with...
No.
Okay. No, he says.
I'm talking about people being able to sit for 4 hours, 5 hours in shamatha. So
Yeah.
are they just in a state of, sort of
Oh yes.
intoxication?
Non-distracted. Yeah.
Because you're saying that you can't concentrate, that you can't do that for, is that 24/7 or just for 24?
Oh no. This is what I was saying earlier. Remember, I said this settlement or the settling down, the experience of settling all the gross emotions is really good. It has a benefit. So many benefits. Okay, let me tell you. What are the benefits of just doing shamatha? Okay, forget vipassana. And you are so good at it, your gross thoughts have gone down. First of all, and actually I have seen that also. This is actually related to, again, wellness. And let's say usually you eat 5 plates of rice. You do shamatha, I would say 3 weeks. And if you are shamatha, you will reach to a certain level. I will say 5 spoons will do. You will still feel not hungry. Because hunger is related to, again, mind. It's about emotion. It's about addiction. It's about, it's a bit like shopping, Sometimes we need to present ourselves, always, give ourselves some present. Buy things, gadgets, shoppings, food. Shamatha does that. It's called Lu Xinjiang, perfection. Yeah. And then also, a lot of things. Your body will always feel very light. And then, this is what people get so attached to shamatha, and this is what the Buddhist gurus always warn us. By doing a lot of shamatha, your intuition begin to become so big. Intuition. Just looking at somebody, you can almost tell what she or he or they are thinking. Because, there's not so much filter. And then people kind of like that kind of clairvoyance kind of experience. Very dangerous. It's because it's not liberation. We are not looking for this. Remember I told you, Buddhists don't care about whether you are stressed or not, happy or not, clairvoyant or not, being able to fly or not. we want to see the truth. And this taste of so relaxed, 5 spoons of rice, yet no need to sleep also. Yeah, no need to sleep much, maybe a few minutes of nap. And this is good. Buddhist really warns a lot of warning on that. It's called bliss of samadhi. That's very identical to enlightenment also, at glance.
That's what I wanted to ask you, that can you kind of experience the 8 resolutions in those states of shamatha?
Yes.
In the clear light moment?
Yes.
You can.
Yes, you can.
And how many hours should you have to sit for that?
Oh, many.
4 hours.
Oh, that's nothing. Even a lot of people today, those who go to so-called vipassana, but they mostly do shamatha, they sit 9 hours. Burma, everywhere. I did once in Burma. I was incognito. This was a long time ago. Joined for a few days and then volunteered to chop vegetable for the monastery. It was so hard, my goodness. Anyway, 9 hours. That's sort of the standard Burmese vipassana people. They do like about 9 hours. And everybody says this. You know, those people who say, "Oh, I can never sit more than 10 hours. 10 minutes." I have met them. Oh, after 3 days, you know, it was fantastic, good experience. Blah blah blah, all that. But then a real matured Buddhist master have to shake it up and condemn all that experience. You think this is great? Nothing, so on and so forth. There's a whole volumes on that. It's like for an unexperienced ear, very discouraging. The scoldings that you get because you have a meditation experience. There's volumes after volumes. I carry one every day, everywhere I go, written by Jigme Lingpa. First page to the last page is scoldings, warnings, all that. Okay, this and then we go to break. Yes.
But isn't it in some ways a contradiction? Because I've been doing Vipassana now for many years.
Mm-hmm.
And the first time I went for it, there was a feeling looking for. So isn't it a contradiction
Yes.
in some ways that we do, whether shamatha or Vipassana, trying to get away from that, and yet whilst we are practicing it, somewhat
That's why the Tibetans would say, okay, I'm now speaking typical Tibetan Buddhist. That's why they will say, you need to hire somebody who will dismantle you. We are talking about Guru. Or at least you need to carry this book, who really discourages you with all your achievement. So what do you think you are? Who do you think you are? You think you are an omniscient? You think you are clairvoyant? You think you can... All that categories. There's nothing. It's like... one of the great master called Jigme Lingpa, he said he would sooner... What did he say? So many things. Some of them are so beautiful. It's like... one of them is like... small insect eating wood. And termites, and you know, as they eat the wood, then they sort of sit inside, and then there's a space they have created, and then this termite thinks this is a sky, and then there's this sky, stuff like that. There's so many scoldings. Okay, Veer asked earlier about non-duality. very difficult one. It's really, really difficult to talk about non-duality. You have heard this example, How do you introduce, how do you talk about sweet to someone who has never tasted sweet? Yet, we need to, we know that only through letting this person taste the sweet, he or she will gain liberation. That's the only key. So it's very important that we tell them what is sweet. But we don't know how to say it to someone who has never tasted it. There's no reference. So I would say all the Buddhist teachings are basically trying to talk about shunyata, trying to talk about sweet, let's say. But by giving you salt, chili, masalas, turmeric, ginger, and each time saying, this is not it. This is not the sweet. So a lot of deconstruction. That's why you hear the word na this, na that. It's so funny to hear the Heart Sutra in different nations. Like when in Japan, they use the word mu, which is na. Here in the Sanskrit na, in Hindi na. They say mu. And then I think Chinese is wu, and Tibetan is me. So me, da me, di me, ro me, re me, che me, do me, kam me, bani, ji kam me. So me. You know Osho Rajneesh? Yeah, Osho. He is really, he's so funny. He's good. He's, brilliant. He said, Buddhist no is very special no. Because in the Buddhist no, there's 100,000 yes. So that's it. The Buddhist na, Buddhist mu, very, it's kind of very rich. It's actually a lot of full, F-U-L-L, full, instead of negation. There's all. But then you may ask, why then we choose the word no? Why not? Positive language? Actually, we do also choose a positive language. There's a whole school of Buddhism, in fact, bigger, very big, one that flourished in China, Japan, everywhere. They choose more. Should I say word positive? I don't know, maybe positive is not the right word. But they use that. You see, you are hearing Tibetan talking at the moment, coming from the tradition of Nagarjuna. It's the Nagarjuna and the company talks no. Maitreya or the Asanga and the company, they talk luminosity more. Luminosity means exactly the same thing, by the way. It's exactly the same thing. But I need to tell you this. Remember, we were talking about the truth. And the truths are really nothing supernatural or divine. It's just, it's very simple, like all the impermanences, all compounded things are impermanent, so on and so forth. And then especially all projections, whatever you project does not exist externally, inherently. That's a big one. If you know that, if you know this, not intellectually, but even intellectually, if someone told you, after let's say 50 years of marriage with somebody, if someone sort of, your wife or husband, whatever, your partner actually has tail. Have you seen it? You understand what I mean? Wow. Your attitude will change. You will want to see it. At least. And your husband or wife, whoever is, what's he doing all the time? Or what's she doing? Like trying to catch the glimpse of her or him in the bathroom. I don't know, whatever. You will change. You understand? Shift. Now, if you really see the tail, wow. Even a look-alike one, the whole dimension is changed. That's it. See, right now, so the even intellectual sort of, wow, all these are my projection. And projection is, just a projection. It's not there. It will do something to you. Like the dream, you're falling from the cliff or from a building and you suddenly realize you are dreaming. It will do something to you, different. What we are trying to do is trying to understand that truth. Okay. Now, there's many ways. The best way, the best way, the simplest way is if the student, Shiksha, is totally surrendering, taking refuge to this truth, not only intellectually but from the heart. Just as what happened, this Mahamudra of Ganges, back to that. Telopa, basically after torturing Naropa 12 years or something, hit him with his shoes on his head. After that, dimension changed, shifted. Bengali, right, Naropa? Isn't it? Prashant? This is your fellow Bengali. Shifted, he totally changed. Just a slap on his head with his shoes. No teaching, nothing. Before that, everything just... Before that, no teaching, nothing. All he did was all sorts of strange things, like asking him to steal people's soup. All kinds of things, like pinching bottom of a princess during a procession and getting beat up. All this kind of thing. And then anyway, just a total shift. Okay, let me describe the shift. It's a bit like, and there's a description, meaning, right now, size of your palm and the size of the sky, big difference, isn't it? Shift. Size means nothing. Kilo of a gold and a kilo of a dust. Right now, big difference. Shifted. It's all changed. Everything shifted. wow, this lineage is so important. And this guy, Naropa, taught to Marpa. Marpa taught to so on and so on and so on. And this teaching went all the way to the court of the Chinese emperor. And many Chinese emperors become the disciple. And today, this lineage is held by the lineage called Karmakaju, Karmapa. You are familiar with? Yeah, Karmapa lineage. That's just one lineage I'm talking about. There's so many things like that. Virupa. Again, another great Nalanda guy. He's practiced. And practiced all these mantras, stuff like that. And he was so frustrated. He said, what's the point? I'm nothing, nothing to gain. He was so angry, he packed up his rosary and threw it in the toilet. At that moment, shift happened. And that lineage, at the moment, is held by Sakyapa people. The toilet guy, basically. Yeah. There's so many lineages like that. And, some of this, maybe, I don't know, I should not be speaking. Great Saraha. That's so special. Saraha. He's a guru of Nagarjuna, dean or the chancellor of the Nalanda University. Big deal. The great Indian kings and the queens and the merchants during those days venerated Nalanda. And he is the dean, he's the boss of the Nalanda University, heading all these monks. And he was not satisfied with academic whatever. Because he said, what's the point? So he went searching for another guru. He's already very accomplished, very learned, but he's not satisfied with this intellectual. He went and he finally found his guru, part prostitute and part arrow maker, a woman. When he first saw her, she was making arrow and she was shooting the arrow towards just empty, no target to aim, And then that sort of struck him and said, wow, what's she doing? And then he asked, don't you need some sort of a target to really see whether your arrow is crooked or not, And then her reply was, this is your problem. You have a target. I have no target. And starting from that came another lineage. All these lineages are still alive, by the way. Most of them, wow, so many Tibetans, translators and practitioners died, bitten by mosquitoes, snakes, clashing with the Indian dacoits, so on, but managed to, import in Tibet, and now it's re-imported to India, I would say. It's there. Doha of Saraha. By the way, Rajneesh have a teaching on that. Doha of Saraha, if you are interested. He did a quite good explanation, I must say. Doha is like what the Bowls of Bengal, I think they sing something like a Doha, isn't it? Yeah. It's expression of their realization. Anyway, what am I saying these things? Oh yeah, the non-duality, right? Non-duality. Yes, the non-duality, lineage of non-duality. So what is non-duality? Non-duality is difficult because language is not good enough. This is it. So actually there's many ways to experience it. But I'm sorry to say, I'm not Telopa. And I'm kind of assuming you are not Naropa. So you are safe. I'm not going to use my shoes. It's not going to work. You understand? Because you are not totally surrendering. And even if you do total surrender, I cannot really, take the responsibility. You understand? Total surrender of people, oh my goodness, this is... Immediately I will bring my lawyer and say, okay, sign this disclaimer. Very dangerous these days. Only thing we can do is reasoning, deduction, deconstruction. So that's why you study things like Madhyamika, Prajna Paramita. Hearing, argument, this, that, contradiction, all that. This is why there's all this Buddhist study of volumes after volumes. If you meet someone like Telopa, and if you have the Naropa attitude, no need, all this is a waste of time. All you need is just wake up, shift. And don't tell me shift is not possible. It is. Drink margarita. You will have a shit, won't you? You do. But of course, this kind of shift is temporal, dependent on substance. You get addicted to that substance, and it's soon going to go away. And this kind of shift only make you dull, or maybe a little bit superficial confidence. That's it. I'm just telling you that it's not as if shift is not possible. Shift is very possible. Margarita can do it. Mushrooms can do it. Peyote can do it. All you need is a shift. Okay, back to non-duality. You, of all the people, you should be, the Indians especially, you should be home with non-duality. I always say this, and I really mean it. You guys are people who can accept that Ganesha rides on mouse. There. It's a really good description of non-duality. Big elephant riding a small mouse? How is that possible? All your deities are sitting on lotus. Try to sit on lotus. They'll be squished, flattened. But your deities' lotus, they're all intact, beautiful. Stuff like that. Basically, what non-duality, you see, instead of talking about non-duality, let's talk about why non-duality is not fitting in our head. Even though it always happens. Okay, for instance, let's stay in Vana for 10 days. You will feel that it's like one or 2 days. Let's spend a time, maybe 1 hour in the jail, prison. You will feel it's a 1 year or something. Time goes very slowly. Non-duality, see? Where is long and short? Beauty, ugly. None of your projections exists inherently. Big, small, good, bad, evil, wholesome, divine. Everything is relative. Nothing truly exists as how you experience or how you project. Did I tell you this? I was coming back from Goa, a plane full of, what do you call them? Hari? No, not eunuchs, they are Are they eunuchs?
Hijra.
Hijra? Yeah. Plane full of hijras. Yeah. It's amazing, like, and I was just so fascinated. Where are you guys going? I'm sitting next to these, and they're all beautifully adorned. Anyway, one of them said, well, we were just invited by some big, wedding to bless the bride or a groom or something. And all along I've been thinking, I was brought up thinking that the Indians sort of look down at them like as a sort of inauspicious. Non-duality here. You of all the people should be kind of at home with this non-duality. Something bad is suddenly good, and something good is suddenly bad.
Because Holi they go around from house to house.
Oh yeah, today? Do we have hijras visiting us? Today? Okay. But I think, India, no other countries is managing to really chew and digest and swallow it. Yes, when we teach emptiness, when we teach shunyata, when we teach like a prajna paramita, madhyamika in Oxford, Cambridge, San Francisco, Westerners, because they're very intellectually, they like it. They can sense the logic, they can really appreciate. But to really go inside their bones and blood, in their DNA, little difficult. It's a very... But it is how it is, everything is like that, actually. We were talking about the Vimalakirti Sutra. Oh, this is a beautiful sutra. There's a section where, okay, for instance, even within Buddhism, there's a Buddhist yana or the vehicle called Sharvaka yana, where practice is more like a Vinaya, monk, nun, monks, don't touch women, like all that, like hierarchy stuff. But in the Vimalakirti Sutra, there's a section where this great monk, Shariputra, like the right-hand man of Buddha, visiting the house, and suddenly in the house, she's almost like a maid of the Vimalakirti. She herself is very powerful, and she miraculously turned Shariputra into a woman, this monk. And he was so freaking out, I'm a woman, but what to do? And then there's a conversation between this girl and Shariputra, now in the form of a woman. This woman saying, what do you mean by gender? I don't see any woman. Who are you talking about? What is gender? Whole chapter on that. Only now people are talking about women's equality. Actually, people should read Vimalakirti Sutra, because I think the modern equality of men and gender is still very dualistic. It's still a man and a woman. This, in the Vimalakirti Sutra, they talk real equality of gender. What is woman? What is man? This is an illusion. It's so beautiful. It's in the Vimalakirti Sutra. Anyway, it is a very sort of unacademic, not non-academical way of understanding non-duality. Many, many beautiful examples, like a reflection of your face in the mirror. Every morning you must go to toilet and you must see your face in the mirror. Every day you see this. Every time you go to the mirror, you see your face, right? But, without failing, never once you saw a banana or something. Every time when you look at it, you see your face. But, even though it has always been unfailing, that does not prove that the person in the mirror is real. It's still a reflection. time does not make it real. Consistency does not make it real. Function, oh yeah, mirror, reflection of the mirror gives a lot of good function. You know, you can fix things, you can put stuff on your face correctly. I don't know, you can straighten your ties correctly. But none of this proves that the thing in there is real. It's an illusion. But illusion does not mean that it does not exist. So the word na, mu, me does not mean negation. It appears, but at the same time, it is empty by its nature, like a reflection of the moon in the water. It's beautiful, bright, but doesn't mean that it's there real. That's how the Buddhists see you and me. It's here. It's not that we are not here, but we are also not inherently here as how we project ourselves. That's about all I can do for now. But if you want to study this more, there are hundreds of books you can read. Madhyamika Mula Karika, Madhyamika Karika. Oh, 60 verses of Madhyamika, 70 verses of Madhyamika. Too many. So many books. Arguments. Maybe I should let you ask more questions, since,
Sir, I want to ask you, I asked you personally also yesterday, there are moments where I just go blank.
Oh.
Or like even while I'm meditating, I'm just thoughtless. So is that right, or as in, I don't know, am I
No.
on the right track?
Yeah. You just have to be aware of that. It's just an experience. Yeah. You just have to be, yes. You just have to be aware of that. And if you do that, good. Blankness is nothing more disturbing or special than, discursive thoughts. It's just another waves. You cannot go to the beach and say, oh, this wave is good. This wave is not good. Because they're all one. And they will come back again in different form. Yes, deity. Yeah, I use the word, deity.
Can you talk a little bit more about that? Also because as human beings, our sense of self is convoluted. What we do is to seek validation, to seek...
Yeah, that's a big one.
Metaphysics, psychology, everything is about relationship to self. How much money we can have, what we are seeking is to feel better about ourselves. What is this notion of self? Especially in relation to what we talk about.
As we talk about here, non-duality, first of all, actually in the Heart Sutra, what is the subject of the Heart Sutra? It is a discussion between the, Avalokiteshvara and Shariputra. Because it's actually a big conference, this Heart Sutra, held on the peak of Rajgir. It's a very important conference. It's like a, what do you call it? G-Summit? Is it? G20? Yeah, it's a bit like that. Very important. And aiming for one thing, how to solve the problem. Just like the G20 people.
More like the five-member Security Council of the UN.
Yes. Kind of. And that's the conference. Yeah, there was a lot of big people there, 500, what? Anyway, Mahasattvas, Maha-Arhats. Anyway, the conclusion is there is one problem. And that is thinking that there is a truly existing self. So, what is self? And that's where it is deducting. Remember, there's no I, there's no form, there's no feeling, there's no this, no that, no that. So, there is no self. So, if you are asking a Buddhist, is a self is just an illusion. Now, coming to your question, the previous question, the deity, that non-self is sometimes practiced as the deity, that emptiness. Remember, I've been telling you, the Buddhist no is not a pure negation. This is a little difficult. This one will take some time to, not that easy to. Okay? It's already read.
Rinpoche, my understanding of non-duality is maybe slightly different, or maybe I don't understood what you told. So non-duality for me, it's coming from a Sanskrit word which is advaitvad, which means that we are not two. That means we are the part of same God, which is like we are Atma or soul, and the God is Paramatma.
Right.
And we have to see that there is no difference. So anything else, for example, if you say we are not body, I'm not God, I'm not anything else, but I'm that Paramatma, and that realization is self-realization. Is that also right way of thinking?
Yes. You know, you are talking about Advaita.
By Shankaracharya.
Yes, Shankaracharya. You are talking to a Buddhist, by the way.
Sure, but
me. So what I'm saying is that because the pre-Shankaracharya, so-called Samkhya, Purva Mimamsa, Nyaya, they don't have non-duality. So Buddhists, and I think some independent scholars, there is speculation that the Shankaracharya got it from Nagarjuna, the non-duality. This is the wide-known thing. Whereas in Buddhism, the non-duality started from the day one. Well, from Varanasi, Saranath. Yes, so the technique is same. One thing though, after hearing I would say, and this is something that we have been discussing with our friend there, one thing that is different from so-called Hinduism. I mean, Hinduism, as we know, it's not really because when we study Buddhism, Buddhist philosophy, we study also a lot of our so-called opponents, but a very very appreciated opponent. Not like Shia and, not like that. Very good, because they really, no fight for territory. Never. There's no communal sort of problems. It's all about philosophy. It's wonderful. The discussions between Nyaya and the Buddhists is tough. It's just amazing. It's all about non-duality. What I would say is, in Buddhism, as much as we talk about the non-duality, the aspect of the duality is never rejected. As you saw last night, the fire puja. This exists even in the sutras. Like a Vajrachedika Sutra, very famous, which again there is a commentary by Mr. Rajneesh. Diamond Sutra it's called. If you look at the Diamond Sutra, the meticulousness of the Buddha, how he folded his robe, washed his begging bowl, placed it on the table, blah, 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 all of that. And then suddenly there's this discussions about how there is no such thing as Buddha. What is Buddha? What is form? If you see Buddha as a form, you have a mistaken idea, and so on and so forth. So the relative is never rejected. So this is where Buddhists talk about compassion. In fact, the non-duality and the compassion in Buddhism is synonymous. This is, we are now opening a very big subject. I don't know whether we should go in there. There's a whole text written about that. Because the compassion, actually the English word compassion is not doing the justice to karuna and all that word. Because I think the word compassion derives from the Abrahamic concept of having a God and all that kind of thing, isn't it? Forgiveness, sin, forgiveness. I think the Abrahamic religious believe that, you have sinned, sort of original sin, and then if you trust the God, then you'll be sort of, what do you call it? Absolution. What do you call it? Yeah, all of that. But especially in the Mahayana Buddhism, instead of believing in original sin, you are originally, basically, fundamentally, you are perfect. You are Buddha. Remember I was talking about the cup? Why do you even have the confidence of washing this cup? Let's say it's really looking dirty. So dirty. You won't throw away the cup. You know you can clean it. The dirt is removable. The cup is you. And that's, okay, let's say it's clean. But actually it's neither clean nor not clean. It's just cup. Clean and not clean only came because there's this stain of coffee, which is nothing to do with the cup. Because when you buy this cup, it didn't come with a stain. Or when the potters made this cup, they didn't make it with some stain of coffee. There's not one. This understanding is really important with a non-dual, in connection with a non-duality, because we are talking about real compassion. Compassion, okay, let's put it in a very Californian language, okay? Having compassion to others, important, but having compassion to yourself, very important. And how do you do that? Having the confidence of Buddha nature. And this is also important for instance, like a bodhisattva. Like let's say you are a bodhisattva and your job is to enlighten all these beings. So as a bodhisattva, you look at them, angry, greedy, stingy, all that. But how you look at them is like a gold not polished nugget with a dust, everything. That's how you see. So it's like, oh, I have the raw material here. Gold businessmen go bypass the dust. You understand what I'm saying? They see the gold. They don't even look at they don't look and they don't see the dust, the mud. They see the gold, here it is. Now I can do something. That's compassion. Then it gives you courage, If you need to turn a dirt into a gold, it's guaranteed disappointment. You can't. So that kind of important. Okay, Badri, what is it? We have like this question and then we should go and change. I mean, you don't need to, right? You guys go like that, right?
Rinpoche, I request you to throw some light on the difference between conventional truth and ultimate truth. On one hand, we describe conventional truth as dreamlike, and that we need to wake up from this dream. And sometimes one goes through all kinds of nightmares and one is suffering, and that one needs to wake up. And the awakened state, the view of that is considered to be the ultimate truth. At the same time, one also hears of a kind of a non-hierarchical relationship between conventional truth and ultimate truth. That just now you said The conventional truth is never rejected. Now, I'm a bit confused about the conventional truth that the Buddhists claim is non-hierarchical with ultimate truth. Is that view of conventional truth the enlightened idea of conventional truth, or is it the layperson's idea of conventional truth?
Layperson's. Because, first of all, the conventional truth and the ultimate truth are both within the conventional truth. You know? So, being, how should I call it? Within the darkness, you have to find, in relation to the darkness, you have to find the light. How should I put it? This is a very big subject. Should we discuss this maybe later? Can you remind me? It's important though. I think some of those who are new should hear this. Because this is quite important, especially if you are thinking of studying Buddhist philosophy. You need to hear this, because lot of the Buddha's teachings, hear this is very important. Lot of the Buddha's teachings, actually most of them, 99% I would say, he taught, but he didn't really mean it. Really, it's serious, I'm serious. It's like, I've been using this word, Cinderella story. You want to put the baby to sleep? What do? You tell stories. What's your aim? To put somebody to sleep. Skillful means. Lot of Cinderella. Heart Sutra, Diamond Sutra, Vimalakirti Sutra, they are what he means. Okay, so if you ask me, okay, what are these Cinderella teachings of the Buddhism? Where he said, good, bad, don't do bad things, do good things. Samsara, nirvana, you don't want to go into there, you want to go in here. Oh, this is Cinderella teachings. Shunyata, non-duality, all of that, non-Cinderella. This is important. Actually, again, this is another Indian nuances, I think. Very Indian nuance. I think Jainis, I read some Jain teachings. They also teach like that. It's very important. Like, for instance, if you're talking to, if you are talking to Stephen, Hawking? Even as he talk about a Big Bang, he will never differentiate like, oh, ultimately I'm saying this, not relatively. They don't say like that, right? It's all ultimate, basically, isn't it? Everything, I mean, there's only few relative teachings like Cinderella stories. Most of it is ultimate. But in Buddhism is, and I think basically the Indian wisdom, this is an Indian way of talking, actually. They have two kinds of way of talking. One, they mean it. The other, they don't mean it. I'm serious. This is the whole thing is like that. And we know that. For instance, like a Pure Land School, have you heard? Pure Land School of Buddhism? Yeah, Pure Land School. Most of them are, didn't really mean it. When Buddha said, oh, once I was a monkey in my previous life, blah, 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 all luring to the ultimate truth.